Alright, we begin. Hello everyone. How the fuck do we start this? Alright. I'm gonna say, this is not gonna be one of the usual videos. It's not gonna be funny or anything. I may have to say some funny shit, I don't know. You be the judge. No. So, starting since December, I've been playing this basically whenever I could. On 3 days, 5 hours minimum. On work days, 2 hours minimum. Every single day I could. I had a blast doing this. You just saw me beat back. And I thought it'd be great if I just went around and explained all of my machines. And then how I eventually got the ridiculous numbers required to build the final thing. Right. So let's jump in and I'll start. Alright, so while the game loads in the past, I forgot to go in depth to what expert mode really means. So, expert mode basically means recipes get changed. Quite a bit. Quite a bit. The creative items are all kind of ridiculous, but they're craftable. That's the point. It's doable for sure, but it takes quite a bit of resources. For example, the solar array controllers. Where is he? There. Okay, so this is the final item you have to craft, which requires not only inifinity ingots, all this crap, also solar controllers. Solar controllers require all this, which already requires singularities, draconic reactor cores, resonant cells, avium, and automation is key in this pack. For example, all the recipes use these cells through these sets. So you start by automating this. Easy. Okay. Machine frame. I'll go later in this actually. Let's go from top to bottom. So to get this, we need to go combination crafting for all of these. Now this one's easy, this one's easy, this one's easy, easy. Yeah, you gotta do a bit of an IC2 for that. This one is relatively easy. This requires bees. I have a bee set in the end that makes these. This one's easy, this one's easy, this one's easy. This requires a bit of work. This one's easy too, and yeah. So, but the rest of the frame itself, then it requires, you can do it in the Thermionic Fabricator, but there's these machines that do it for a little bit cheaper. You need all this crap for, you need this one. This one is 40 blocks of redstone into this one in the smelter, only way to get it. This requires cinnabar, rosin and rich slag automated into this thing, which requires molten aluminum into this thing, which requires automation of these things going into this thing, which requires, you can empower it or you can combination crafting it. These four, which are also relatively easy to get, into this thing. Okay, and that's the cells. Now, the machine frame requires a machine frame from RF Tools, an iron casing from Extra Editions, a machine case from Tesla Core Lib, and a heavy engineering block from Immersive Engineering. So these are like the 4 starter mods. Like, so to get this, you need to go through Immersive Engineering to get the heavy engineering block. You need to go through industrial programming to get the machine case. You need to go through Extra Editions to get this. You need to go through RF Tools to get this. So you need to do those 4 branches of mods before you can even get here. And then you have Mekanism, which is a bit for steel casing, which you need for this one, because this one requires a steel casing. And so you have these branches of mods combining into thermal expansion, and then from thermal expansion you go outwards, like Rocketry, Advanced Rocketry requires these structure blocks. Where the hell are those? Might as well search for structure actually. Oop. Structure. These, which require the signature sulfate, and they require elite plating. Elite plating requires more plating. Crystal binder. Crystal binder is made with calcium sulfate, which goes through an entire process. I'll show that later. Yeah, that's basically expert mode. Very changed, but not that much changed. It's only cells. These are all like used as the crafting steps. Like it's always this one, and from this one you branch off to the other mods, which is what makes it pretty great. Most of the mod recipes are unchanged. You just need the automation to go through these, and yeah, you need to make these things eventually. And these are a pain actually. The ultimate ingot, one of each. This is 81 different ingots to make one ultimate ingot. So I was like, when I needed it, I was calculating, and I thought, all right, 5 stacks of this will be enough. So I rushed 5 stacks of this, and it turned out I was missing like 48, so I had to make another stack later on, which was kind of annoying. But that's basically what expert mode means. Lots of changed recipes. So now my past self will start explaining every machine I've made. Thank you. Alright. Hello. This is the starting point. This is the spawn of the world. This is where it started 259 hours ago in game time. This is a bomb-ass armor, that's for sure. Looks cool as shit, but protection-wise, perfectus. I literally cannot be touched. Like, you can't even get a hit animation. The renders on this sword are amazing. This sword does so much damage, it sets enemy's HP to 0. I'm just lower the music a bit more. Okay. However, utility-wise, it's crap. Therefore, we're gonna take it off and we're gonna put on our older set. Oh, not that one. Yeah. All right. Much better. So. You might be wondering, why the fuck is there no gravel here? Well, that's because I was testing around, and according to the quest book in getting started, vein miner. So as long as you hold something, and just hold a button, this, and then bzzz, which is absolutely amazing. Let me just put the junk away. Yeah. So, in the start, I just went around. I like walked here, saw some shit, saw this cool tower first. So I went here. There was absolutely nothing of value in here, so that was boring. And well, I walked around looking for a place to start. Couldn't find any, so I crossed the ocean, and then I found it, the island. And this is where it all went down. I found this solid island with a fucking lava lake and a meteorite from applied logistics on top. Perfect. Now, you're seeing a lot of shit right now. Don't worry, we'll go by it one by one. I say we go from up to down. So, we begin at Astral Sorcery. Astral Sorcery is a mod that, let me just get my tome. Yes, Astral Sorcery is a mod that works with constellations and the stars and the power of the stars and how you can empower yourself. And it's usually done through the iridescent altar right here. So, in the beginning it's like just a 3x3, and then it becomes crafting table like, where is it, like a celestial altar, and then you have to craft it like so. You have to build a structure for it. It's also multiple structures a lot, and you have to be like open in the sky. So this is a maximally upgraded altar, which is receiving starlight from this crystal, which is also powered up. So I can craft, because normally this bar would only be somewhat full at night, because it needs to collect starlight. This right here is a machine controller from Modern Machinery. Modern Machinery is not a mod on its own, as in the a pack developer has to make his own machines and then can use this mod to make it easier. So literally just to make certain things, you need to use Liquid Starlight. I'll go over that in a moment. So you input items in there, fluid in here, and the items out in there. Like normally you cannot automate it. You need to right click with what's called a resonating wand. So that's pretty basic. So Liquid Starlight, of course, it's kind of necessary, and that's gotten by these light wells. These light wells you can put in the aquamarine, these things, resonating gems, these things, rock crystals like these, or celestial crystals, these. And yeah, I'll go over that in a moment. So we put these in the light well. Eventually these crystals will break, but that's okay. So I set the whole system, and then it will is collected in this black hole tank, which has 8,000 buckets, and that goes to an end tank for transportation. So all of these are filled with rock crystals. Now how the hell did I get as many rock crystals? And the system, okay, so first off, there's an AE system, and they're all different items, which is annoying. They don't stack, you cannot make them stack, and I just had to fucking do this. So, yeah. So, how do I get all these rock crystals? Well, there's this mod. There's this mod called Mystical Agriculture, and we can basically grow it, right? Great, we get rock crystal essence. Turns into the ore. Alright, here's the thing. You cannot process the ore. There is no way to process the ore. You can place the block down, you can have a machine dig the block, nothing will come out. It has to be dug by a player, which is fucking annoying. So I just decided to have a big ass load of it and dumped onto the system and just let it go. Like, yeah. This is a separate AE system, it's not connected to an AE system. So that's, yeah, that's how I made that. Alright, this block is a demagnetizer. So any magnet items a player would have on him are just flat out disabled. For example, I have the remagnetization here, disabled. Rock crystals, these can also, hold on. Yeah, celestial. So, we can here, we have size, purity, and cutting. Now, size can be increased by throwing it into this and waiting. Eventually it will consume the liquid and grow in size. Purity is a different story. When the crystal reaches maximum size and it still keeps soaking up this liquid starlight, it has a chance to split, and the resulting crystal, one of the two, will have a higher purity than the last one. So you just keep doing that until you get a 100 purity. Cutting is gained by placing the crystal in here and just right clicking a bunch. It will remove some size, and it can break if the size goes below 0, of course. So you gotta be a bit careful of that. Eventually you can get the perfect crystal, which, hello, goes into the rock crystal seed. Here. This requires perfect celestial crystals, which were, as you just saw, a waste of time. Anyway. This is a Starlight Infuser. Liquid Starlight is around in 12 total block spaces. And once you place an item in here, for example, Resonating Gem, or an aquamarine, you then right click it with a Resonating Wand, which I have in here, so this thing is constantly right clicking this thing. And then it gets right clicked. Okay, and then get this particle effect, it drops out, and then gets grabbed by the item collector into my system. Normally, for automation wise, item goes into the interface, goes into this mechanical user, and then the item will get deposited there, and then right click with that, and then wait a little bit, pops out and back in. That's how the automation works. Then there is this containment chalice. So without this, it has a chance to consume one of the 12 buckets of liquid starlight, which is annoying. With this near it, it only has a chance of consuming 400 millibuckets from the chalice itself, so I no longer have to work with the actual places in here. Now there's this weird setup. Well, that's because the liquid needs to be piped in from the bottom, and I can't break any of these blocks because that would break the multi-block structure needed to infuse anything into this. So we have to use what I like is an ender porcupine. An ender porcupine simulates the block space. So I can set a location in it, like so. I just from the point go like 1 the x direction minus 1 the y direction, which gets me down there. And then it acts as that block. So I can extract and input items, energy and liquids easily. And yeah, so liquid starlight goes into the bottom of this, and you'll be seeing this one a lot. I've been using this one a lot. Now, the stars, as you can see in the sky, they have to be discovered, and you start doing that with this thing first, the telescope. You find this thing, and then you like draw them as you see the dots, and then you discover them. And all these constellations are to be discovered. This one is an asshole, because this one only appears, as you can see to the left of me, every 36 days. So I marked the day when I saw it last, and then just plus minus 36 days before it shows up again. Currently it is day... what day is it? There, day 827. Okay, and then eventually we can graph this biggie, and then we have this entire screen. Ooh, there, hello, and then we can draw again. And you need this thing for dim constellations. Like you have bright constellations, then you have dim constellations, then you have faint constellations. And faint constellations, which currently there aren't any in the sky. Or that's one, I forgot. I think that's one actually. This may be a faint constellation. Faint constellations are... yeah, it was one. Okay, these 4 faint. You can only see them with this thing. This is from Magic actually, so a block of lava on an imperfect just turns into night, so I can just skip the time. An eclipse clock can allow me to set the time and then warp to the time. That's done with this magnificent item. Actually, I need to go over what I have in my inventory. I'll explain this in a moment once we're done here with this entire setup here. This giant structure is necessary for attuning crystals, because the mod offers rituals and increased enchanting. So for example, Evitus, for example, which is for enchanting, mend the equipment and greatly healing the living, so this will probably give mending on as an enchant. And as a ritual effect, all nearby living entities experience regeneration while nearby crops flourish and grow at an accelerated rate. And a ritual is done there, here. So in this crystal, here is an attuned crystal to Evitus. This is not you have to actually place the star things to get the that show up. But this is a ritual, and this ritual is tuned to Evitus, so as you just read, it gives regeneration. Why am I not getting regeneration right now? Because we have this here, a ritual anchor. A ritual anchor basically allows me to place this ritual at another location. I'll show you where later. And then we have this last here. Okay. So, what the hell is this? Long ago, about 60 hours into the game, I needed, for example, rubies. Or yes, I need these for stuff. So I was like, how do I get these the best way? Well, turns out we can heavy sieve, compressed ender gravel, and we get all the vials of plenty gems. Great. Okay, how do we get a compressed ender gravel? Well, we crush endstone. Okay, how do we quickly and easily get endstone without going to the end every time? Endstone, yes. Starlight transmutation from sandstone. Ah, and sandstone we can just make we can just have a material stonework factory which creates cobblestone, which creates then gravel, which then creates sand, and then creates sandstone. And we can have that piped into this chest. I had it in a faraway place originally, so that's why I use 2 end chests here. And that goes into this outer placer. So sandstone would be placed here. And then, yep, it immediately turned into endstone. So we have this weird setup. Okay, this is integrated dynamics. I'm not going to explain this mod. I don't fucking know how this mod works, actually. I kind of follow the guide, and basically, this is constantly checking the block in front of it. And in here, we have a comparison. Somewhere. Okay, yeah, here's the comparison. So I'm comparing the block in here with that of endstone. And if those are equal, this turns on. Turning on the block breaker and activating the altar placer again to place a new piece of sandstone. And then the endstone will go in here to be crushed up and sieved. Eventually I didn't need a machine anymore, I had enough of the crystals. And that about covers the Astral Sorcery area. Oh wait, almost. This is the stellar refraction table, which I can basically use to get incredible enchantments. For example, looting 5, fortune 6. Fortune 6, you can only get up to 3 normally. But because of this, I got fortune 6, which is great. I just saw a skeleton there, didn't I? Well, whatever. Alright, I think I should explain everything in my inventory. This is a creative tank. I'll show later. This is a black hole talisman, which I've had for a long ass time, so as you can see. I have a lot of cobblestone in there. It's been great for keeping my inventory clean. This is probably the best item I've ever made. To its in series. A time in the bottle. This item allows for tick acceleration. So, accelerated at which blocks tick. It passively collects time in your inventory while you can consume it by right clicking and block it. So as long as it stays in my inventory, and only then it will increase in time. And then I can use the time, first click 30 seconds, then 60, then 120, then 240, then 480. And that tick acceleration effect lasts for 30 seconds. So if you add all of these seconds up, it would cost you at maximum speed a total of 15.5 minutes. And yeah, it just sped up so much shit, it was great. Whole thing, and I have 131 hours in there, so, and I got this, what, 5 hours in game? Yeah, I've used a lot of time. Wrench, Ghost Dropper is for a creative tool tank. Personal shrinking device is for compact machines. I use it to get inside the compact machine. It's not really important. A Basilicator is to just teleport me back to my base wherever I am. The Infinity Ore, meh. A Keyshik Tome is useful for holding all the instruction manuals books for all the mods. My backpack, which I have a lot of garbage in, honestly, just random tools that I could use. This one is in here because it's cursed. I currently have wireless charging on, and the moment I put it in my inventory, it will drain my entire energy supply in seconds. This is basically the technological version of the Terra Smasher from Botania. That one is charged with mana, this one's charged with energy. So yeah, let's not use this. Yeah, so there's random tools in here I don't use anymore. Well, I do use them actually, but yeah. Wireless crafting terminal, connect to my system wherever, whenever I am. That's great. Staff of Traveling, just gets me from point A to point B. Weapon, also weapon, and torches. This is a dig tool and a weapon itself that can attack in an AoE, which is also great. But This thing does a lot of damage, and this thing does infinite damage. So, which moet I want to have? Yes, that covers this. Let us go down a little bit to the thermal evaporation plant. Okay, basically, this entire structure, you pipe water in, it gets hot, it turns into brine. Brine then goes into this ender tank. That's it. That's the entire thing. Why do I have 4 of these? Because the conversion rate of this thing is so high, you need a lot of input. This is an ultimate mechanical pipe from Mekanism. This is what I have found to be the fastest possible liquid transfer in the pack, which I have used quite a bit. You'll see later. This is another thermal evaporation plant, turning brine into liquid lithium. So, liquid lithium goes in, liquid brine goes in, and liquid lithium goes out. Later on, I have used this liquid lithium, this chlorine, liquid lithium, in an ingot former to literally make lithium ingots out of water. That's why I have currently 2,046,000 lithium. I'm literally making it out of water. Nether portal, silver tree, not really important. This right here, I'm glad I placed this. So all the caves underground are well lit. Everywhere. I don't need torches anymore. It's all well lit. Great. Oh god, where the hell do I go now? Where the hell do I go now? How here? Yes. Okay. This is needed to make compact machines. Why in God's name did I put it here? No clue. I just did. It just put up here. So, yeah, I'm making compact machines here, for example. This thing requires the compact machine walls and in the center a block of emerald, and you just throw an ender pearl in and then it shrinks into this. I'll show it later. Yeah. Where do we go next? What's a good idea? You might be wondering what the hell this is. I'll leave that one for later. How about the smeltery? Right, yeah. No, actually, yeah. So, when I got here first, I lit up the whole island using torches because I didn't have any way of advancedly, or a good way to get rid of all the mob spawns. So we just went around the island, put some torches everywhere. Had a bunch of chests here. Well, furnaces too, and tinker setup. Explored, mined the cave down there. Good times, good times. Of course, you had to start an industrial craft. 3 farms I had here a bit, so, and yeah, cacti. Yeah, that's actually recent, very recent. Let me just actually go to the quests. So, these are all, everything has a mining level, of course. Custom, even. So in the beginning it was usually of getting the next harvest vessel. Until here, you're golden at this point. And then there's the guy on the gates. So this is basically showing you a path of what you can take. You could have started with industrial craft, forestry, immersive engineering, or Thaumcraft. You basically can start those 4 mods. I started majorly with industrial craft, and because I kind of want a power generation, then I went to nuclear craft. Great mod, by the way. And so I kind of skimmed to immersive engineering, industrial craft I completely, forestry, didn't really do a lot here. Thaumcraft I almost did everything. And so forth. So we have here the smeltery, it's fairly basic, just ignore what's in here. Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, weather, terrain. Good. As I was saying, only thing of note of Smeltery is probably the smart output. You can pipe in a liquid, and then you can put in an ingot cast or a basin upgrade, and then it will automatically make the item, and then you can just pipe it out, which is pretty great. Oh shit. This is the market, which is basically just trading. I can get anything for an emerald, almost anything, or 3, even eggs for 10 emeralds, or bees. Yeah, I had to do bees. It was not fun. Kind of funny how this guy spawns. Right, so oh god, okay. Man, this is harder than I thought. What do we start? Well, right, yeah, simple. Drive force portal. Distillation Tower. Crude oil comes into this enter tank, goes into the distillation tower, and becomes 3 products: gasoline, diesel, and lubricant. And lubricant is what I needed, so that went into an enter tank to be used in the base and later. A byproduct is bitumen, which is completely full. That's basically it. Okay. So all these things you see here are basically inside their own chunks, and they're to show what I found in the chunk as mined. And so I was searching for crude oil, of course, and that is over here. So we have this setup with a pipe completely going down to bedrock, and that just mines the stuff for me. As you saw here, it was a lot in here, but that's obviously drained already. Yeah, this is a temporary spawner I needed. For the last thing I needed this thing called cosmic meatballs, and you need several things like prime rabbits, for example, or frog legs, or you need a lot of animals, so I use this to quickly capture an animal and just duplicate it quite a bit. Yeah. Why are there so many electric pumps here? Well, these are all with filter, and a filter is a filter that separates heavy water from regular water. So all of these are pumping up heavy water. Heavy water is then deposited into this ender tank. And what can we do with heavy water? Well, heavy water, if you throw that in an electrolyzer, we get deuterium, oxygen, and tritium. And deuterium is what I want. Deuterium can be used in the fusion reactor with another set of deuterium. That's what I used. And that made me 400,000 RF at the start, which was fantastic. You see it later. Yeah, but basically this is basically fuel for my reactor. Alright, so I might as well go with this. Over here we have another one of those crystal boosting sets, and it's aimed at a lens with a growth lens in it, and that light is then bounced back into this plant, which is making me awaken draconium. Great stuff. Now, it's usually not making the growing this fast with just this light. No. Because there's another stack over here. It's one I need for Dragon Eggs. So, to growth accelerators, great. But if we go to growth accelerators, growth plants above it. It doesn't mention how far above it. And this means we can stack it and stack it all the way down to bedrock. All the way down to bedrock. And if you just keep stacking that, we get something that grows really fast. The S is put in this, turned into nuggets, and then turned into an ingot, and that's piped into my system. Yeah. So this is a fission reactor because I needed Californium. Californium 249 to be precise. Or was it? No, it's 250. Yeah. I needed Californium 250. Alright, how do we get Californium 250? Well, Yes, we fuel reprocess it from depleted HEB248 fuel. How do we get depleted HEB8 fuel? Well, we throw it in the fission reactor from HEB249. How do we make this? We need berkelium. 248 and 247. Berkelium is made in the fuel reprocessor, requiring this fuel. Going into this, you need this fuel, going into, and then you need these items, and that goes from this, and goes into this. You see where I'm going with this. Basically, from uranium, where is it? This could be, wait, no, not this, this uranium, yes. We could make MOX249 fuel, or yeah, Lu-233 or Lu-234, I believe. Yeah, I believe it was this one, LEU-233, which I used. I had to use a lot of, and then I had to go into something else, and then again and again and again and again and again and again, and I actually made a little bit too much. So I eventually got enough California 250. That's strange. Why don't they stack? Oh well. So yes, basically I put them here, flipped Swiffer, accelerated it, and then yeah. So inside the reactor, it's just cells. It's just reactor cells. This reactor was completely made to get through the fuels as fast as possible. I did not care about the energy generation, but they are cooled. They are cooled. You can see an active reactive cooling cell, and into it is it's active cooling and not passive cooling. And active cooling is like, it's a lot better than passive cooling. Passive cooling would require stuff like cooling rate 140, must touch at least 2 reactor cells. So normally you would fill the reactor with these things. That wasn't enough. I had to use active cooling. So as the reactor is only to passively use jet cryothium, so I had to make this little setup here. Okay, there's here a few things you need to ignore. So this was originally here. You can ignore these two, this, and this. Just what's touching the reactor is more what's important. Wireless AE is, oh yeah, useful. So bliss bolts come in here, get pulverized, going into the crafter, make bliss powder with snowballs and redstone being exported into this, and then going into a magma crucible to be burnt in jelly cryothium, and then goes into this tank. That's how it went there. You may ask, what the hell is all the rest? Well, I needed jelly cryothium for something else, so it went to the engine. It was actually not fast enough, so I had to make a second set to make more jelly cryothium. Also not fast enough. This also uses redstone quite a bit because this is a separate system. So it's constantly using these redstone. And well, didn't have that much. Anyway, we just pump. If I need more redstone, just pump redstone in here with jelly cryothium, and I just turn it on and it just produces redstone real fucking fast for me. Alright, I'll go to this weird structure. So, end game. Great. We've made it to the end game. Now we need resources. We need a lot of resources because the creative item upgrade, where is he? Hello, am I blind? There it is, okay. The creative vending upgrade requires all this crap, but namely infinity ingots. Infinity ingots are made like so. Oh boy. Ultimate singularities and infinity catalyst both use singularities. Okay, how do we get singularities? Let's just take lumium for example. Alright, we put it in a quantum compressor. We put lumium ingots here with a crystalline catalyst. This does not get used up. How many do we need? 10,000! How many do we need eventually for literally 1 ingot? 11. We need 11 lumium singularities. We need 11,000 lumium. How do we get this many ingots? Well, it just happens to be that most singularities here happen to have a liquid version. Molten tin. Molten tin. Okay, and at this point, we already have a creative fluid tank. So I thought, alright, we're going to fill black hole tanks. And a black hole tank wasn't done crafting. A black hole tank can hold, as you can see in the top there, 2.1 billion millibuckets. Which translates to roughly 2.1 million buckets, basically. Right, so 2.1 million buckets. Great. So, we needed to extract out of the fluid tank into the tank as fast as possible. So, one of these pipes has a extraction rate of 6,400 millibuckets, so 6.4 buckets every tick. And I forgot to tell you this, for those who don't know or forgot. A tick is the speed at which the game runs, and that is equivalent to about a 20th of a second. 1/20th. So every tick is extracted 6.4 buckets out. Now, we do that 6 times. With just this, 6 times, alright. But, of course, that's pretty slow. So, we have all these ender porcupines here, aimed at the creative fluid tank. And all of these ender porcupines aimed at that tank. So, what if we do 6 times 6.4 times 25? Yes. We get, let's just do, oh, I don't know, molten diamond, why not? Yeah, I don't know why. Okay. So, we insert molten diamond. And then we get 100 buckets, no, 1,000, 150,000, 200 buckets. Alright, and this structure is what they use to fill quite a few black hole tanks to the fullest to then extract the resources from. So, where do you want to go with this? Yeah, okay. So, this entire setup fills this tank in a little under 2 minutes. And how much can we get out of that? Well, for example, the tin. Seriously? For example, tin in an ingot former. Well, where is it? There it is. No, it's a melter. Hello? Alright, yeah, okay, so it costs 144 millibuckets of tin to get 1 tin ingot. So a full tank, if I could do the calculation, would be 2 to the power of 31, alright, divided by 144. Now, sadly, I can't, well, I can, hold on, let me just grab the calculator out of my back here. Hold on, I'll be right back, I can't, it's full screen. Fucking, yeah, alright, there we go. So, just to show you how much that is a total of 14.9 million ingots. 14.9 million ingots created out of waiting for 2 minutes. And the gems are kind of different, like molten diamond. Oh, it's full. It takes a diamond, a little bit another amount actually, because it's a gem, so it takes 666. But that's okay. It's still quite. It's gonna take quite a while. And then we just, well, yeah, grab it. We grab this, and then we just put this and this, and then we just put that back, and then we drain it, and it's ready for next liquid. Excellent. Great. Okay. I'll just put this in there. Okay. Then yeah, we go on, don't we? To bees. 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 Okay. So this is just automation. I made sure they can work indefinitely. I make sure they produce as much as they can. goes into a centrifuge separator to make me honey, because I needed honey. These are byproducts, I just put them here like and the honey then goes into the squeezer to make honey, and that goes into here. That's it. I just had to take some time to get these bees, but that's it. I believe that covers everything on the outside, doesn't it? Yeah, well, we're not gonna go in there yet. We're not gonna go in there. Well, no, we still have Botania and we have blood magic. Let's do Botania. Okay. So before I show you everything here, we start where mana gets generated. Right here, the Rosa Arcana. And what does the Rosa Arcana do? It turns experience into fluids, into mana. It's great, because at this point I already had a mob farm, so I was generating tons of experience. But the weird thing is, this structure right here, I just do this and this, and well, the pool is right now full. Actually, can I just get a mana pool real quick, or mana pool? Can I? It's a bit of an effort. No. Wait. Can I maybe get this one quickly? No, can't. Okay. Basically, flicking the lever on and off, this flower is basically bugged. It was just generating infinite mana for no cost, which was fantastic. I abused the shit out of that, and yeah, I went through this thing here. It was great. I did not have to use anything big. This one was producing enough mana on its own. Yeah. Okay. Eventually, when I wanted to automate this, I needed something bigger. So I got the Everlasting Guilty Pool, which is infinite mana creative item. Why do I hear a zombie? That's weird. Oh my god, don't tell me there's a zombie, for fuck's sake. Okay. There we go. That's not gonna happen again. Yeah. You might also be wondering why the hell is the cobblestone here. This is a mana pool with under it a catalyst, which I can use. For example, if we get a piece of glowstone, I just throw it in, and it gets duped. Over, and over, and over, and over, for the cost of a little of mana, but it doesn't matter. I've created mana. Alright, stop that. So yeah, let's just wall those in. Right, so, of course we need to automate Botania. So, the sources from this block, this goes back to the base for AE. We have an interface here on this open crate. The open crate is, you pipe an item in, it immediately drops out at the bottom. That's it, it's basically a box with a hole in it. And on the other side of the portal, I have a vacuum hopper. So the items get dropped in front of it, then get pulled through the portal, and the portal poops out the adamantium, or the dragonstone, whatever, and then just gets piped back into the interface, back into the system. Easy. If I need a normal infusion, I just have a dropper here for these things. Throw in pearls, gunpowder, redstone, redstone, diamond, or pearl, or iron, and that just gets converted and it's grabbed with the advanced item collector. Easy. Easy. Okay. Now, we're gonna get a little bit more complicated. So, arcane stone, for example. Yeah, this will do. This is an automation for the pure daisy. So the back developer thought it was funny that instead of stone, you need to use arcane stone. Great. So we're gonna speed up the pure daisy to speed up the creation process. Okay. So what's going on here? Okay. The arcane stone gets piped into the structure builder. The structure builder is made to make a square around the pure daisy. That's it. That's all it does. These placers are filled with living rock. these long-range breakers are filled with living rock, so they cannot mine the arcane stone. They don't have room inside them for arcane stone. So they can only break living rock. Living rock, once it breaks, the controller here. Alright, so I'm not going to explain the system, don't worry. Basically what happens is, this block detects, oh hey, there is more than 9 living rock in here. I should extract 1 to make sure it stays on 9. And it will extract it into this chest. And this chest goes, well, into my system. And this cable here is just to feed power into the builder, nothing else. That's what's happening here. Yeah. And that was Botania. Okay. Yeah. Alright, I just had a little break to drink some water, because talking a lot, I'm not used to that. We go into blood magic. So, remember the ritual from Astral Sorcery? It's here. Why is it here? Well, I'm constantly torturing about 30 villagers in one spot to taking their health and healing them, their wounds, for eternity. Agonizing pain. For all of them. Just to feed them to my altar. Morally, this is very, very wrong, but it's virtual, I don't care. So, we need the altar, and we need to automate the altar, of course. How do we automate the altar? I want an orb in when it's not crafting, and when it's crafting something, I want to pull out the right slate. And as we know, slates require the last slate before it. Now we only need 3 slates. We only need the blank slate, the demonic slate, and the ethereal slate for eventual crafting. So, out of the system, I have these level limiters set up. If there is less than 512 blank slates, less than 64 demonic slates, and less than 64 ethereal slates, the redstone signal will turn on, and these will detect it. And basically, based on which one is turning on, a color will turn on. Should any color turn on, out of the interface, on red, or green, or on blue, we extract, because this is filled with living rock, the living rock goes in. It also extracts the orb and puts it into this chest. So this tiny chest will basically hold the orb. So when it sees one of these signals turn on, it extracts the orb and then extracts out of the interface the living rock going into here. And while it's crafting, it's gonna wait, and as long as the rest of the signal is on, it will continuously try to extract a blank slate. Well, once it has, it goes back into the interface, while from the tiny chest, it will extract the orb and go back into the altar. And basically these 6, this one's for the blank slate, and this one is for the demonic slate, and this one's for the ethereal slate, these set. So this is all blue, pardon, and this is all green. And well, basically this is not color because I need to be able to put the blob more orb in when there's nothing. This lamp is just a test, pardon. And that's basically how it works. So one of the rest of the signals turns on, orb goes out, living rock goes in, it waits until it finds a slate, it pulls the slate out, and then yeah, let's see if I can get an action. Excellent, so 1, or yeah, sure. I believe it just did it already. Okay, watch. Alright, I'm going to pull out 1 slate. Wait. 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 Run. Yeah, and then put the orb back in. Perfect. Exactly what I want. We also need to automate the alchemy table. The alchemy table has some strange recipes. 33 even, yeah, you just throw in the items. So I need a few of these. We need Draft of Angelus, which requires all this stuff. That needs neurotoxin, needs antiseptic, and requires plant oil. And what's the problem with plant oil? Well, plant oil requires 2 of the same item or 3 of the same item. So I went with the weak one. Okay. Now, how do I tell a system to have the same item split into different slots? You can't. So I did the overflow solution and just requested make 64 plant oil. So it needs to insert 2 stacks. You cannot put in 2 stacks at the same time into one slot, so it has to split them. That's for automation wise. And that's how I solved that issue. You just overflow the system. And that covers blood magic, basically. This altar is made for capacity. As you can see, there is 247,000 capacity for blood. We got some speed runes and we got some sacrifice runes for that. And that is basically blood magic. Because for the creation of Benetoid, we need acceleration runes, charging runes, draft anglers, and material slates. You have to autocraft this one along with Anglesite to make quite actually every single creative item you need for that. And Anglesite is made like so, which is all fairly easy to get. You just need automation for this and this. This was the biggest one to automate, which I'll show you later. Yeah, so the one I just told you to automate, that's done in here. I'll explain it later because this is linked to a system down there. That covers the outside of the island. How about we go into my base? So originally I wanted an underwater base. I thought it was cool. Yeah, sure. So side path, haha, I lied. We're not going there yet. This is just some basic GP generation. This was used to be the cave I used to go mining. As you can see, it's filled with these light things from the light well. Yeah, and I just make GP here. Now, as you can see, my capacity there is nearly 11,000. That's because I have a creative GP generator sitting inside my base making 10,000, so that was easy. Actually, almost. There's one more outside machine I want to show you. And that is done down there. Yeah. Can I get into it from here, maybe? No. Okay, I'll have to... Okay. So. Oh, hey, it's good for me. Nice. In here, from this, Squid gets spawned. Squid can then push them with the fence into here, along with fence, in front of Mechanical User. Mechanical User has a bound blade in it. Why a bound blade? I need a blood shards. And it has been working fairly well. You need to kill him with blood shard to get the fucking blood you need to kill him with the bound sword to get blood shards. So I had to automate that. The items dropped get collected by the drain collector and then go into the system. Which is through this, basically. And the advanced western interface just has these two in it. And these link to the spawner and to the killer. Yeah. Okay. What's in the sky today? Yeah. So we go down into the base, finally. Alright. Welcome to my base. This is the main room. I have a basement and I have 6 other rooms, as you can see on the minimap. Technically 7, but eh. So, I am standing here, right here, most of the damn time. Because here is where all my AE shit is. Energy cell, they're all 16K discs, except for this one is 64K, because I went a little bit overboard. I need a hazmat suit for the plutonium and uranium from Thaumcraft. Creative mills right there. I just made this for the lols. I had no reason to make this, but it's there. But this is the chest where I keep a reserve of everything. So that I don't fuck up. These are used for the ore processing place. So I can filter it back in case I fuck up. And yeah. So you've probably seen I have quite a lot of items. But that's to be expected at this point. Yep. Now, of course, automation is key in this pack. And I have a lot. This is not even it. Alright, hold on. Almost there. Molecular samples. 64 molecular samples. I had to make 2 entire crafting trees for all of this. And I barely had enough. I did not expect I need this much autocrafting. In a normal playthrough of a normal pack, which is not expertified, I would need 1 tree, and that is more than enough. But yeah, I have to make a lot. I'll show the crafting trees later. They're not in here. A social manipulator to change the time and the weather. Yeah. Flux networks. Yes, this is what I use to control the power going outside. This is my little kitchen corner, really. Got some foods in here. Iron jar. Nothing really special here. Neutron collectors. Okay, so about 20 hours into the game, I got a loot chest. Loot chest you can get from literally any recipe. You just get any quest. If you do it, you get a loot chest. And loot chest, very rarely you get a legendary reward. And I got 2 of these, like 20 hours in. And slowly but surely, it's going to make this tiny pile of neutrons right here. 9 of these compresses into a nugget, and 9 of those compresses into an ingot. Now, over 240 hours, these 2 only made 56 ingots. Yeah, that's slow. So I was happy I got this really early on. I didn't need to do any work to get these, because I had enough. Workbench to make stuff. Once I needed to repair stuff a little bit cheeky way, because normal items shouldn't have durability. So from this primordial pearl from Thaumcraft is very hard to get. There's these hold on, here. There's these flux rifts, okay? And you can blow these up using an item. And when you do that, you have a very tiny chance to get a damaged. Okay, yeah. Let's just say you get a damaged version of this. Like it's tiny. It's very tiny. And normally it has like a durability of 9. You can use it. Oops. Oh. Yeah. So yeah, you can use it, that pearl in here, to gain its charges back, which is absolutely not intended, but fuck it. Continuing on, we have an ultimate furnace. This melts 1 item a tick. 1 item a tick. So if I got sand, why not? And put this in here. And you know what the best part is? It can be tick accelerated. So if we ask for glass, 2000. Okay, now it's gonna do its thing. It's taking some time. And it's too fast for the system to comprehend. It can't put the items in fast enough. It's so fast. And that's why I made an ultimate furnace. Now the interface is here on top because this guy is kind of annoying with its automation. Items have to be put in from the top. Items, a few can be put in from the side, and items have to be extracted from the bottom. they're kind of following the vanilla furnaces. Then we have a manufactory, alloy furnace pressurizer, rich factory, which I barely use. The automation of this is under the floor. I'll go over that later once I get to the basement. Psi was necessary because I needed psi gems and ebony and ivory. So I didn't really go much in that. Design device to go to different planets. I'll show the space station later, but I went to these planets. It's, yeah, I need it for certain ores. These three were the ones I used the most as to my playthrough. These tinker tools. This was my pickaxe, big cobalt. Great tool. I used it like until I got the Sword of Cosmos to replace this one. And this one became a pickaxe, so that was literally as I crafted the things. Those are with creative upgrades. Those are, yeah, that's creative. This used to be, I call it wooden bow, it's actually a laser gun. You just point it at a target, and unless there's an entity, can I just get a soul shocker? Yeah, sure, why not? So, for example, this, that. Now, the great part is we have Pam's Harvest Craft in here, and we have, as you can see, Eaten, assisted in adding hearts. So, as you eat 10 different foods, you get 1 heart. And so, I put a modifier on this. There, Botania battery cell, hearts. And the hearts modifier is the more health you have, the more damage you do. So this gun did like 50 damage total. And I put the same in the Osgogos pan. Alright, so at the very start, not there. Yeah, I chose this, the Netherrack pan. And it was actually a formidable weapon at the very game. And eventually I got Osglogos. And Osglogos was great, because Osglogos has Brown Magic and Global Traveler. Brown Magic meant I can just press this. Oh, I can set my coordinates here and just teleport any dimension, anywhere, for free. It was great. I didn't need any teleports or anything. And of course I put hearts on it too. It also had Global Traveler, which means as I killed an enemy, items it would drop would get transported into a chest I would assign it, and that chest would then import items to the system. So doesn't matter what I kill with it, its items would not drop, they would go straight into my system, which was fantastic too. There's some more machines here, these are not combined. There's a melter going into the fluid transposer. This machine is actually automated terribly, but it's automated. This nothing really, does nothing really. And that covers the main room. Yeah. Yeah, I have a tier 8 cell here. Goes in. There's a separate network for the generators. And it doesn't for some reason want to input it in, so I had to use an infinite RF thick pipe. I currently have 15.5 trillion RF. Cool. I'm generating 50 million at the moment. Quite a bit. Alright, let's go to Thaumcraft. So this was the second room I built. Yeah, I was originally I was going to go with like more of those here, here, and here, but I never needed to. So Thaumcraft, we got the stabilization to monitor the flux and V. Suit, research, a few crystals. This is where I burned up materials, then they would go into the fluid filling essential filter, going into all these jars, and then I could do the alchemy through here. I just put the item in, select recipe, and then get requested. I made this for shits and giggles really, I just need a quest for it. This, I spent like 4 hours trying to find this fucker. And I did. And I needed him because he could trade me some kind of thing that allowed me to skip a few research, and he gave it to me so rarely it just was not worth it. Further we have this thing. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, that tends to happen. This is a flux condenser. So I pipe in essence, I wait a while, and then it pulls taint out of the atmosphere into here, because if you get too much taint, you get those rifts I showed you before. Also high up in the sky is a silver tree to help the aura here. And it also did a pretty good job. There's like no more flux here. And that is the upside. Yeah, I'm going to show you the basement later. That's where all the automation happens. Okay, this is the, do not be alarmed by this construction. I will explain it later. This is combination crafting. This is where you get the things like this one, for example, or anchlite or benatite. Like this one also happens here. It has to be imported, and then there, and then you wave them all. This is for the fusion crafting for awakened cores, for example. No, wait, strictly awakened cores actually. That's why this one is not connected. That's literally the only thing it makes, awakened cores. Because if I put in any other recipe, automation will be a little bit more complicated. So I couldn't do that. Over here, we have one of the two crafting chandeliers. Why so many molecular samplers? Well, because one item, well, let's say I want to craft the terra steel and the same ingot at the same time. It could use this one for the terra steel and then one of these two for the insanium, for example. Okay, so here's three modular machines. The advanced Thermionic Fabricator, the advanced Carpenter, and the advanced Metallurgic Fabricator. This one is used to make titanium, merion, moldarium alloy, oscillogos, few ingots. I never use this recipe. I'll show the automation later. It's kind of a mess down here too. Yeah, later. This is basically, well, you have the Thermionic, this one, which does these things, and that can be simplified for a cheaper cost with this. So you just put glass in and you get the things like the cells or machine frames, and that's pretty great. The Carpenter, same deal. There's a machine called the Carpenter. It uses liquids, and then you put in a recipe, and it makes it. It's kind of annoying to automate. So then we got this thing, and it accepts different liquids, quite a few actually, and makes several items. For example, Rifle Energy Core. Yep. Alright. Hold on. Alright. So, yes, this is the advanced rocketry room. Here's the second crafting chandelier. And yes, they're all upgraded with acceleration cards. You might remember the lubricant I needed. Well, it's needed for this machine. It turns plates into sheets and then sheets back into tanks. It's meh. Sad H2O, but in this pack it needs lubricant. This is a crystallizer. It doesn't do much. Like, it doesn't do much. This literally is only use. It has another use, which is turning silicon into silicon bullet. Okay, yes, you do. You need these two. That's it. That's all it does. It's kind of crap. This is a lathe. Mattering issue. It turns 1 ingot into 8 rods, which is substantially better than the printing press from Immersive Engineering. I have a satellite builder here that I needed to do to make the space station eventually. Well, now the Carpenter chip for the space station. This makes me circuits. Circuit boards, for example, these here, control circuit boards. You can make them like this, or you can do it for like half the price and really fast too. Normally it's 10 seconds, but I have it set to 6 for speed. So I request one. Let's see. It's gonna take a while. No, it should be done in jiffy. Okay, let me just wait patiently. It's really fast. Can I, if I stand like this? Yeah, I can. Okay, so it's going to make a reinforced alloy. You see it? It went in through. That fast. This is a cutting machine. You put in wood and you get 10 planks out, which is a great game, but it's slow. So, yeah. This was supposed to be my start for making my own dimensions and worlds and then mining the fuck out of those. But then I discovered that the dimension builder requires this. Not only does it require a void ore mine and controller tier 6 and resource mine tier 6, it required an infinity catalyst. And I was just not gonna begin on that, so screw that. Hold on. Might as well sleep. Okay. Okay. So this is where I built a rocket and just went to space. So we got all Elon Musk here. It's an Enderman hat because he's South African. With a spacesuit, which I actually never used. I put the airtight seal enchantment on this, so I could just go into space with my draconic armor. So we have a rocket assembly machine and we have a space station assembler, which I both needed. I never cleared this hole. There used to be, okay, so long ago, there used to be an electrolyzer here and a chemical reactor. And the electrolyzer would separate water into hydrogen and oxygen. And the hydrogen and oxygen would get combined again into the chemical reactor to make rocket fuel. Which was an extremely cheap recipe, which got passed out. I never made a machine that makes the actual new rocket fuel now, because it just didn't need it. And there used to be piping to here and then into a fueling station, which is currently in my space station, which I will visit later. It's literally nothing special. There's something worth noting over there, but that's for later. Okay, and then we just go to the, actually, it's gonna be really soon. We're gonna go to the main room. Well, main room. The big room. The big room has all this. Okay, first things first. This is the core of my EE system. I'm using wireless applied logistics to go around my base, so that helps with the cabling. So I can have separate rooms. Locked with, these can all carry 32 channels, which is perfect. I have 3 ME controllers, and they're all going to exactly one side. So, yeah. That's the core of the EE system. Then we have this ridiculous structure, which is my fusion core, fusion reactor. This fusion reactor works with pumping deuterium. Deuterium, remember the pumps I had outside? Yeah. Deuterium gets in here, and it goes into here and here. With 100% efficiency, which is great, it's at 99%, should still be a very small temperature change, yep. And every so often it consumes deuterium, and then it makes 4 different fluids. It makes helium-3, hydrogen, neutron fluid, and tritium. And I just pipe them into the system. This is almost full actually, but it doesn't matter, I'm done with the pack anyway, I don't care. And the reactor requires these fusion electromagnets. They all need to be powered, they all cost 50 RF a tick. So I made this entire ring out of energy cables to make sure that every magnet is powered properly. And as for power generation, well, in the beginning, when I started, well, it was about 100 hours in or so, and I was building the fusion core. I didn't have these fusion connectors because the more fusion connectors you use, the bigger the ring, and the bigger the ring, the more fuel you use, but the more power you generate. So I started out without any of those. And I was generating the combination of deuterium, and the deuterium on a tier 1 base max power 403 kilo RF a tick. So I was generating 403,000 RF a tick optimally. Now this, because that was size 1, this is now size 5 because I have 4 and minimum size 1, so 4 plus 1 is 5. And now I'm generating 5 times as much. Basically 2 million RF a tick. It was not enough. The garden, which I craft my singularities in, right there, I'll show that at the very end, required quite a bit of power. So much that this reactor itself was not enough. Let me also explain. Okay, so there's cooling. Every reactor has cooling. And you see here, active cooling rate is 4,999 Kelvin per tick, 99%. I think that's a typo, actually. It's rounded down, possibly. And you're not hearing anything. It's normally very loud, but I have this thing here to make sure it doesn't produce any sound because it's loud and it's annoying at that point. So, cooling. So we have all these active fluid coolers with water in it. All coming from this infinite water source, which is great. And one of these cools a size 1 reactor by 20. Because it's size 5, it's 20 divided by 5. And these active fluid coolers quadruple in efficiency, so 4 times the amount of cooling, if on the exact opposite side there's also an active fluid cooler with the same fluid in it. Shut the fuck up, sheep. And for this size reactor, I needed quite a few coolers actually. So this goes all the way around with pipes, and while they do pass the liquid on to each other, they don't actually piping. It wasn't fast enough, so I had to use piping. And that's how this reactor works. It generates 2 million RF a tick, decent amount, very decent amount, was not enough. So I went to the space station. And on the space station, we had, well here, you can hear him, I did not put the sound off here. This is where the remaining the rocket fuel I used to have in here. This is the rocket I made. It's a piece of shit, honestly. I'm literally using dirt in the middle. This is the warp core to go to other planets. This was a failure. So, Industrial 4 only has its own ore generating system, which requires these laser drills and these piping. You put in energy here, and then over an amount of time you do generate 1 ore. These were inaccurate as fuck, even though I had these lenses on. And they were super slow. Even with 3 of them. So that was just no. So I put it here just to demonstrate that it's useless. So, the main dish. A maximum size fusion reactor. This is a size 48. It required 1,588 electromagnets. And I have a note on each point to make sure all the electromagnets are powered, because they don't carry power that far. Took some time. I put a glass ring, like I wanted the outer ring to be glass, although I had exactly calculated the amount of electronics needed, but I then shift clicked, and then not only did it take the normal glass, it also took another type of glass, so that's why I suddenly had way more clear electromagnets than normally, which is why this piece part of it is glass and the rest isn't. That was a tiny mistake. I have 2 chunk loaders here from Industrial Craft because I just needed a chunk loader. You can normally chunk load using this, but I had no more chunks to load. Or at least not enough. So in here I'm piping the better combo, tritium and deuterium. Tritium and deuterium is the biggest power generation combo here. It has a base max power of 578 kilo RF a tick. So not only are these being consumed pretty fast, because I filled this up using the creative tank, of course. It is generating 227 million RF a tick. Which is the maximum amount you can generate with here. This also is cooling, but way little. So here I have 2 F-coolers, and over here I have 3. What the hell am I using to cool this? Why, molten diamond, of course. Guess how I got the molten diamond? That's right, I got a black hole tank with molten diamond in it. This has a cooling of 57,000, I believe. So I really needed this amount, and I got a cooling rate of 4,958, which is close enough. Yeah, and that is the space station. Yeah, that's that covers that. Alright, yes, last part, industrial craft. So I used to have a matte fabricator with scrap in it, continuously making UU matter relatively fast. But eventually got a creative tank, and I said, hey, why not fill a black hole tank with UU matter and use that? And then I made steel casings from Mekanism, easily. Plutonium, actually plutonium got patched out at a certain update and later back in apparently. But I have made plutonium automated in another way, which I'll show you later. And chaos shards. So you know the hardest boss in the game from the draconic version? Yeah, he drops the chaos shards and then I just duplicate them with 6 buckets worth. But it doesn't matter, I have infinite. And for example, and then you have a block cutting machine where I put in most of the plates. Like this was just a more efficient process. Compressor, getting these, and extrusion, these plates, and nothing actually. The most fun thing is I have some injector upgrades to eject back into the interface. 16 overclocker upgrades. So for a power cost that is 184,000 times the normal cost, I go to a 1/300th processing time. And I put in transformer so it can hold more energy, basically. And you might be wondering, how fast is this? I'll demonstrate the block cutting machine. Let's say I want 5,000 plates. Okay, easy. Yeah, that seems pretty fast, right? Let me just, oh, we've already done 2,000 are in. 2,500 are in. That's with maximum speed upgrades. It's fantastic how fast this machine is actually now. Yeah. Okay, now I will show you the basement. But before we go from down, before we're going to run down, we go a bit more down. This is my ore generator. This is a void ore miner controller tier 5. Why not tier 6, you might ask? Well, a tier 6 generates the crystals, made of gold, quartz, emeralds. It's fairly basic, right? It's only 5 pages. Only 5 pages. The nice notable difference, it makes draconium. Great. Void ore miner controller tier 5. 9 pages. It gets way more different kinds of ores. It might not get draconium, but I would like the other ores as well. And the tier 6 is just not making that, so I chose to stick with the tier 5. It's consuming 140,000 of a tick, and every 9 ticks, so a little less than half a second, it will give me an ore, and which will be dumped into the system. And I could make it faster, but my ore processing machine cannot handle that speed, so I had to keep it here. Then we go down into the Wither Killer and my mob factory. So this is the new mob factory. I used to have another one. Let me turn it off. Yeah. Yeah, I'll show you the mob factory first. Okay. There's a sound muffler first. Oh. Can this even? No, it can't. Okay. Yeah. So I have a mob crusher here to kill the things. It has a fortune 3 items and gets more loot. range, and then it makes the fluid essence which I dump into here. It has an ender tether because the chokers tend to teleport around. I don't want that, so when they do teleport, they get stuck on this block. And then they're right in front of the mob crusher. This advanced western end phase to wirelessly control all of these spawners. And I have a shulker in here, a wither skeleton, the bliss, the blaze, the basalts, and the blitz. And those drop these rods. Blaze, blitz, basalts, and bliss, which I needed for this mana dust. It requires aerophium, cryophium, pyrophium, and petrophium. And you need those rods for that to make it easier for crafting. I also have blue slimes, which I needed because I got sick of. I have 2 million because they drop a lot. They were nice because I kind of needed slime balls, and I also needed them for. Where is it? Oh, I thought. Never mind then. I'm pretty sure I need. Yeah, I need the concealed blue slime. Yeah, that's one. I needed to make a lot of palace, and I needed to conceal blue slime blocks. So that's why I made this with that. Okay. So I have this generates a lot of items really quickly. So I needed a very fast way of moving items, and the fastest way of moving items I have found is transfer nodes from extra utilities with a stack upgrade and then at least 16 speed upgrades. Goes into this big crate. And the big crate has 3 extraction of this. I needed to use EnderIO's pipes here because of filtering. Executus also has that, but not in the way I wanted to. So fluid will go into here. What are you aimed at? I don't even remember. What are you aimed at? Are you? Let's see. 1 lower, and then 3. 3? Oh, you're the mob crusher. Right. So I needed a way to pipe from the mob crusher into the essence tank. So this is basically a proxy of the mob crusher, and I use it for fluid to put it in here. These are black hole controllers, and a black hole controller can hold multiple black hole units, and the black hole units can hold 2 to the power of 31 amount of a single item, which is perfect. These are also connected to the AE system with a higher priority, so it will try to put in items in these things first if it can. So I have 50,000 calamari, nearly 40k blood shards. It's basically as much as you can hold possible. Even lithium, that's put here, that's good there. Yes, and if an item lands in here, like for example a stone sword from a wither skeleton, and it doesn't belong to any of these, it goes straight into trash. This is connected to the squid farm, if you remember that. So I turn it on again and just start killing them. The moment they drop, they just die. It's great. And then here we have a wither spawner and killer. I never bothered really to clean this up. It's kind of a mess here, like as you can see. Oh right, I forgot. So what's the skeleton I'm hearing actually? Open it. No. Fuck it. This used to be a room that I was going to use for mob spawning until I discovered that squids needed to be spawned at a water level what is equal to the ocean. So I couldn't make a squid spawn here, which is kind of annoying. There's another one to be. Okay. I did not mean to grab this. So, wither builder. Yeah, that's from the ore. How does it work? Simple. There's a wither builder right here. It takes the items in at sadly a fixed speed. It will not make it any faster. From here, this is going to be extracted into here. And you flip the lever, and it builds the wither 1 block above it. So, right in this cage. That's enough. It's going to be a bit loud. And they go into the portal, and then land there. Now, loud. How? And then they die. Eventually. I've silenced them. And then the range collector under there collects the nether stars, the supreme essence, and dumps it into here. As you can see, nether star supreme essence. I am holding 723. These collect the experience that get dropped, which is a decent amount. And it's a wall for me. And so, why do I have 2 shield protectors? One is for containing the wither. The other 2, you can just fall through. It's not solid, but it damages. And that's what they use to kill the wither. Yeah, that is the wither killer. Alright, so one time I was trying to get the outer wall to also start killing the wither. And so I was editing the settings here while there were withers in there, and that kind of fucked up, and then like 7 withers escaped, and I was able to kill them before they wrecked the top part of my base. But the walls behind here, if I can fit through, okay, it's cool. It's all cobalt back there because of the holes made by withers. So that was a slight mistake. Yeah, that's the mob killer and the miner. Over here we have compact machines. I'll show these at the very end. This is the ore processing factory. This is a clusterfuck of random machines. And this is the garden. I'll show that one last. Power is traveling through these ultimate universal cables, because glass fiber cables, although where are they? There. Although they contain 8,192 EU per tick, it's not enough. These cables do the job though. Perfect. Yeah, it's all nicely, neatly, wisely connected. That's last. So, the main room. Or the main basement. There's a lot of things here, but there's 2 more holes. Let's go down this hole first. This is the sheep farm. Yep. It's a sheep farm. Now, there's 2 sheep in here. 3 sheep actually. They're not really sheep. The goats. Why the hell do I have goats? Because I need goat milk. I need the goat milk to make the creative tank. So that's why they're here. There's always also a sewer under here, so I can get a bucket of sewage if I needed to for the mystical agriculture final tier of seeds. And this is an rancher, which oh, ha! I didn't know that. Well then, goat milk also gets made in here. That would have been much easier than last time. This has made quite a bit of wool. 735 stacks, nearly 736. So yeah. Then we have another hole. And that is the no magnet allowed room. Originally, I would have had droppers here, dropping onto the conveyor belts. And then item gets put out and then sucked into this thing back into the interface. This one makes gears, this one makes these rods, this one makes these plates, this one makes more plates, this one makes gears again because I ran out of gears here. And they were it's this deep because I was afraid that my magnet ring would start grabbing the items from the conveyor belts as I was up there. So that's why I put it so low. So the magnet can't touch it. That's before I discovered this beautiful block. This is a automation of the atomic reconstructor. It's currently off, but the moment an item goes on, for example, give me some palace, 10, why not? It just drops on there. And while the plate gets on, it turns off rest cycle, disabling the timer, so the timer gets enabled again, and then pulses the atomic reconstructor to fire the beam. And the plate blocks the laser lens, so that's weird. Great. The worst part, sometimes a hiccup happens where an item that still needs to be reconstructed falls off the plate, and then there's nothing left on the plate, and then it's stuck. It happens rarely. Okay. Why is this here? Unautomated, you may wonder. Well, This is used to make demon ingots. Okay, right. We can automate that, right? Right? Oh, probably because I threw it. Yeah, okay, okay. So if I throw it, it's fine. If we get a crate, an open crate for example, and get a conduit, item conduit and a chest. We'll insert in the crate, we'll extract, always active. So, let's have a machine do this. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's all gone. And that's why you cannot automate it. Demon metal has to be made with the player dropping gold into this structure. That's why I can't automate it. I actually forgot something. Yes, here. Oh, yeah, that's basically what it does. This setup is just making these grains of affinity. They get collected by the ender hopper and then put into the chest. How many grains do I have at this point? 18k. Oh, nice. Alright. Let's use this. Alright. That's those are the holes. So this is the bottom of the E system. These are the 4 crafting computers I have. Only 4 is actually a bit too little, but a job. This one is a big one. This one has like 14 64Ks, and the rest only has like 4 or 2. And then they have like 32 co-crafters in there as well, so they're like slabs. Let's start with this machine. Ignore the chest. This is just an input chest. This all it does is input into system. Ooh, 3? What the hell? There's a charger up here as well to an interface right here to make charged service. That's really that. And then we have the rest of the machine. This is a large crate because for the creative crate you need 16 2084, which is a lot of processors. So all those processors had to go into this. This was not enough room. The silicon, redstone, and the material is pulled out, goes into either this one, this one, this one, or the one behind here as the inscriber. It get processed, or this one. Yeah, those are 3 for gold, diamond, and pure certus. This one's for silicon. And then they all get combined into this one. And then this one goes back into the chest, normally. And the chest has an input bus here to specifically filter to grab these. That doesn't work if the chest is full, because of the large order I had to make. So I had to pipe it into the interface directly. Yep. This is automation of infusion. So here I have one for redstone, here I have one for diamonds, and here I have one for redstone refined obsidian. So I put in the amounts you get out of it. So 1 redstone can get refined in here to become where is it? This one, compressed redstone. And compressed redstone is worth 8 normal redstone in the infusion factory. So if we want to make the alloy, enriched alloy, we just need to throw iron in with the redstone. And this one is 8 times as better as this one. So that's why I have first to do that. And the same is with the diamond and the obsidian. And that's just, the items just gets out of the chest, go into those two, and just eventually get extracted back into an interface, back to the system. Simple. The factories, because they're this big, because the basic versions were too slow. Really slow, even tick acceleration. This little machine just makes black concrete. Black concrete powder goes in here, it gets water from this thing, and concrete comes out. That's it. These are kind of random. Yeah, they're just there. This is the automation for crystal tin ingots, which requires nether star nuggets for some reason. Yeah, it works pretty nicely. This machine makes engineering, I believe. Yeah, these things. Printed engineered circuits. You need these for genetics processors. And then the gold version is made in this one. So that's all they do. This is a crystal growth chamber. This one grows the seeds. These really fast. And can also make fluids in here. So that's what I put in here. That's all it does. It's nothing special. This is nothing. They're all separate machines. I'm serious. I just put them here because yeah, they're just there. This one's a bit important because this one gives power to the furnace there. Yeah, junk to junk. Except for these two interfaces. They're connected to this chest. This chest then exports into the, as you can see on the top of my screen, this melter and this fruit disposer. They're filtered to all of this. So it goes into this one and then goes into the other item goes into here and then gets outputted back into the interface. As you can see here through this pipe. The problem is this thing is very easy to get stuck. So we need to press this button to make sure that no more than one crafting operation gets input into just at the same time. And so it was really easy for this machine to get stuck. I never bothered really to make a better version of this. Continuing. So up here we have all those machines, the enrichment factory, the pressurizer, and under some, well, I just did not have enough interfaces. So we put a machine interface in from Thaumcraft, and this is basically a proxy to the actual machine. So I can put more interfaces on here, which I did for most machines. That's why I have like this interface. They point to one thingy. And here, yep. This is one that's connected to the furnace. As I told you before, the furnace is annoying and it only wants items pulled out the bottom, which it does. Back to the interface. And that goes in this one, which is almost full actually. I had actually multiple times where this one was full. And that covers the wait, sorry. Oh, I almost skipped this. This is the fuel creation, original. So the heavy water goes in here, it gets separated with an electrolyzer and then gets the three byproducts into oxygen, deuterium, and tritium. And that just goes into these two tanks. I needed these later. This one's the fuel, and this one needed is on my space station for oxygen. This is then the enchanting corner. So I have 328 levels in here. These are needed to boost the enchantment power of the enchanter right here. I can get rid of enchantments, I can void enchantments, I can get enchants onto things. Anvils, experience, easy. This is what used to be, alright, so long ago I had a hole here and that would connect to old mob farms, which I eventually removed. The mob farms, this is what it got me. Quite an amount. I had it sorted so anything with a durability would get tossed out. I didn't need it. But flux infused armor and the flux infused sword stuck around, which is kind of annoying. I didn't need these. But oh well, they didn't take up any more space, so I might as well. Yes, this is a decent amount of mob blocks. It also gave me liquid meat, pink slime, which I completely drained to make, well yeah, pink slime. Out in the mob farm, it's gone now. And essence. And essence can be converted into liquid XP. And that goes into the tank. Perfect. Here's an ender library. These are all enchantments. All of them, the entire list. So I can literally just grab a book. And, oh, multi-shot fork, sure. Multi-shot, and now I can use it. And if you want to deposit it back, boop. It only deposits the enchant too, not the book. That's great. This is great. And this is for duplicating enchantments, which kind of failed late because this happened. Every time I wanted to shift click the block to actually do the thing, you pick it up. Which was annoying, so I couldn't use this eventually. Right, let's head over to the Thaumcraft room. Okay, so there's 3 pieces of automation here. There's another compact machine, modern machine, I mean. And this is for Thaumcraft. This has been very useful for making because there's a lot of stuff I need. So I need a complex mechanism. The pipes are nice. The jars are not really necessary. Also, you can make things that you can't even get. Why? I don't know. Just there. These seem to be going somewhere else. These weren't so much glowing before. Oh well. Yeah, there's nothing really special about here, just input the items in here and pull them out into an interface. Okay, this construction makes alchemical brass. It needs 5 instruments to do that. How do we get instrumentum? Well, we burn constant and shears. Constant and shears have literally 16 instrumentum on it. So, instrumentum gets piped first into the jar, and from the jar into here, and then the argon goes in, alchemical brass comes out in the chest, and goes back into the system. Easy. Niter is a bit different. Niter is a lot different. And what the hell? That's not supposed to happen. Be gone with you. Okay, so Niter is glowstone, and then we get 10 fire, 10 lux, and 10 potentia. Now, general mechanics dictate that even a void metal essential smelter, okay, an essential smelter takes the aspects of an item, it burns up, and you get a percentage of the aspects out. And a void metal essential smeltery has a 95% extraction rate. So if we got something like a torch, and we were to burn this, we would have 5 lux, or 4, because of the 95%. There's a chance I get less lux. So getting precise amounts automated into this is not easy. So I had to pick one that you can't. You have to get it, or you can't. 1 essence. So we look at tiny coal. 1 potentia, 1 fire. And we look at glow balls. 1 lux. Perfect. So we throw in 10 glow balls, 1 glowstone dust, and 10 tiny coal. The glow balls and glowstone and the glow balls and the tiny coal go into the smeltery, while the glowstone goes up here into here because I didn't have any more spots. Didn't know how to use an porcupine to put the glowstone in here, and then that gets outputted into this chest. The output chest goes back to the system. So I have 3 venting ports here because every time the part that doesn't get converted into Essentia turns into flux into the environment or in chunks. And these lessen that a lot. Then you have the problem that the Essentia can go any way out of the outputs. So I had to have these filtered and then go into the jars for storage, of course, and then can go into here because of the pressure system, and it was a bitch to make this machine actually. Yeah, that's the Thaumcraft room. This is the underside of the advanced rocketry room. Over here I have another automation of what recipe again? Oh right, the content compressor, which you need for singularities. I need quite a few of these. Oh, you can see the block there. Yeah. There's a pipe going under here, going into lathe, that one. And then just inside, these are nothing special, just put in power, get in the items, and then just check the side. It's easy. EnderIO. Alright, so a little bit of EnderIO automation here. We have powered spawners here. Why the hell do we have powered spawners? Because we need a soul vial. And the soul vials, for example, for witch, I can make. And the soul vial for witch can be used in a soul binder along with an ender resonator to get a descendant ender. And I need this for angle sight. And for angle sight, we need present crystal, weather crystal, enticing crystal, and sentient ender. And these all require different. It is a witch, a villager, a shulker, I believe, and an enderman. And that's what we have here. Shulker, witch, villager, and enderman. Further, we need to slice and splice for to make the ender resonator. And they all accept items from the bottom and push back into the bottom. So that's great. This bar you can manually put in XP by pressing a button once there's recipe, or you can just pipe in XP. This one has an output mode. And it goes in sword binder, and they're all basically the same. It's pretty easy. No, we'll leave that one. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. This one's a bit of a clusterfuck. I'll come back to this one in a moment. We have an advanced coke oven. We have some preheaters, and all this is doing, there's an expert boss here, is dumping blocks of coal. Blocks of coal get turned into, gets turned into coal coke and creosote. The coal coke gets output into the system, and the creosote goes into the tank. I put an interface over here to make treated wood. There's a crafter here, there's a fluid diffuser here, and you put in normal planks in here and treated wood comes out. Easy. What was this machine doing? Oh right, IC2 coolant. IC2 coolant is made by pulverizing 8 lapis dust and mixing that with water in a fluid solid canning machine. So pulverized lapis goes in here, process sticks, and you get 1 bucket of IC2 coolant out. The IC2 coolant gets pumped into fluid transposer over here, it goes into a bucket, and the bucket gets exported out and back into the system. This machine is water, and the power is through a voltaic pile. The great thing about voltaic pile is they can take RF and output EU, or take EU and output RF. That's what makes them so great. As I used quite a few of them actually in the one go, in the start. The advanced Carpenter automation is a bit different. All these recipes I have here are loaded with 5 water buckets, 5 water buckets, a reservoir was actually filled with water, a bucket of liquid DNA. This one requires, where is it? Primal mana bucket, right here. Primal mana bucket. And IC2 coolant bucket. And the buckets and the items go into this chest. All the buckets are sorted to go into here. And this takes the buckets, then puts them into the fluid transposer. The fluid transposer removes what was in the buckets, and our buckets go here empty, and the liquid goes in here, and the liquid gets transferred into the bag, which is this one. It's empty now because it's per recipe. Items go in here, and not dust power there, and then you get them out into here, and then it goes back into the system too. And that's how I automated the advanced Carpenter. Now to get the buckets, because we need for this. Alright, the reason this one has a reservoir and not 5 buckets is because I couldn't fit 5 more buckets in the pattern here. Like it's using 2 refined circuit, 2 enhanced, 2 basic, 2 ultimate, 4 printing, so I had only more room for 4 slots, and 4 buckets isn't enough, so I had to use a reservoir. Yeah, so let's just wait a little longer with this clusterfuck, okay? This one is easy. This is a Thermionic Fabricator, so all it needs is liquid glass, so I literally put it to export sand into here and make liquid glass, which goes into the fluid, and then just put items in, items go in there, items come out, go in here. Easy. Ignore everything that's behind me. Look what is on the screen right now, okay? Okay. So, remember the thermal evaporation plant outside, making the brine, the big copper structure. Right, the brine goes then into electrolytic separator, it turns into chlorine and sodium. Sodium gets voided. We don't need sodium, ever. Sodium goes into the condenser, go from chlorine to liquid chlorine, because this is chlorine in gas form, so we're going to need to go to liquid chlorine. Liquid chlorine goes into the tank, and then the chlorine goes into the advanced metallurgic fabricator. And chlorine is literally the only liquid I need for one recipe. Literally one recipe, and that is titanium, which I actually don't need to make anymore because I got titanium ore from another plant. But back then I need to use it for that. As I said, I don't use this recipe, so no need. Okay. Okay, it's not as bad as it looks. Okay, it's not as bad as it looks. Trust me on this one. This one just makes bottles of enchanting. Goes into a fluid transposer with bottles, liquid XP going in, easy, done, okay. This one gets me lava buckets. This just makes a bucket of lava. This one comes from a sink, gets me buckets of water. Alright. This one has liquid DNA in it. Gets me a bucket of liquid DNA. Alright? Alright. This one makes primal mana. This is where it gets a little bit difficult, okay? So bear with me here, okay? The chest here is the chest, okay? And to make primal mana, we need 1 Zgolgos, 1 Mirian, a bucket, and Lapis Lazuli, because primal mana is an alloy recipe of Mirian, Zgolgos, and coolant. So, 1 bucket of IC2 coolant, it's the same deal as over there. Over there. 1 bucket of IC2 coolant, so 8 lapis dust goes into this machine. Okay, that is then piped out and put into this smeltery terrain right here. The controller is here, it has quite a bit of room. It goes deeper in the ground, the smeltery. That's the coolant goes into there, okay? The items, because we still have 2 ingots, we have the Mirian and Zgolgos. That gets put into this melter. And the melter then extracts the fluids into this thing, then it gets alloyed. And this one is filtered on primal mana. Primal mana then goes into this casting table where there's also a bucket. And then the bucket with primal mana gets pulled out back into the interface. That's how it works. There's another interface here, set to alumite. Alumite needs 1 obsidian, 10 aluminium and 2 iron. Those go straight into the melter. This goes straight into the melter, and the melter then dumps the items, the liquids, in the alloy furnace. Well, not the alloy furnace, the smeltery controller, and then out of this one gets pulled alumite. Alumite then goes into this ingot former to turn into ingots and back into here, and that's how that works. See, not that bad. It's just a clusterfuck of pipes. Can I get my Yita? Yeet, wrench. Okay, so here's the item cables. It's not that bad, see? Fluids. Okay, that one's a bit worse. Power, that's just everywhere. Redstone is not gonna use, blah blah blah. Okay. And that is this room. Okay, before I begin on my masterwork here in the middle, we're gonna go to this little corner. This interface and chests are actually not included because this one is made for the awakened cores, which are the things up there. So, what the hell is this? Well, I need liquid DNA. How do we get liquid DNA? With a DNA extractor, of course, of forestry saplings, specifically forestry saplings. I didn't feel like making a complete tree farm with forestry saplings, that'd be too much work. So what do? Well, we get an analyzer block. And the analyzer can take normal saplings. Excuse me? Anyway, I'm piping in normal saplings. So how do I get these saplings? You might wonder if I don't have a tree farm. I literally make them out of essence. I have grown these. I have a lot of wood and nature essence. I have 44k wood essence, and nature essence is also quite decent. So that's how I make the saplings. The sapling can pipe in here. And using the honey from the bee farm I have out there, they get analyzed. And the analyzed somehow turns the Minecraft saplings into forestry saplings, which we can then pipe over to the DNA extractor to turn to liquid DNA. And that's how we get liquid DNA. And liquid DNA is necessary for what again? Right, lootcrite. That's why. Yeah, lootcrite. Oh dear. So, let me tell you a little bit about the history. So, there used to be an empowerer in this room, this thing. The empowerer can take 4 items on the outside and turn them into the empowered versions. So I had the recipe set up for each block version because 9 times less materials. Why not? Always make the block version. The empowerer had a few problems. The amount of power required for these 2 million RF for the enigmatic was way more than you could input. So it was consuming past the power than you could possibly input power into the display stands for the empowerer, making this terrible. I used to have a system that would I thought was perfect. I thought it doesn't matter how scrambled the items you put in the input chest. The machine would sort it out and then put it into the empowerer and then grab the thing back. I used impulse hoppers. Impulse hoppers, these things. And these would only work if all these items are in here, they would move down. And I have to work on resonance signals and everything. And that's how it would work. But it's still a stuck. I thought it was perfect. No, it can still get stuck. If new items get introduced into that system while items were being piped around, that's when it would get stuck. And all that sorting I did became obsolete when I discovered this button. This button will make sure that items would never get scrambled. You would only get one set at a time, which was perfect. They could have skipped so much. Oh well. So eventually I broke down the system. I forgot this city system here. So now we have the crafting core with 20 pedestals on the sides, which I've automated using AE. But before I talk about that, we have this corner. So these are automated engineer's workbench. So you may remember this one. Well, this is just the automated version of it. In here we make circuit boards, vacuum tubes, steel casing, steel mechanical components, and iron mechanical components. Items go in here and then get piped out. Oops, shit, that was not supposed to happen. Anyway, the items go out here, then they land on this conveyor belt. and then they jump out here, get grabbed by the item collector into the chest, and it goes into the system. It's it caught me. Okay. Why do I have two again? You just make your iron. Oh, right, because the problem is this one uses a copper ingot and this one uses a copper ingot. So how do you decide which one goes where? Well, that's using two chests. I specifically set this one for the brown channel. The brown channel will work for the iron mechanical components, and this is the green channel, which would work for anything else. And that's how you pipe the items around. These were very slow when I need them in bulk. For example, the high voltage solar array requires other than all this bullshit. Where is it? Wait, this capacitor? Hello, I know you need. Huh? Where is it? Am I stupid? Probably am, yeah. This is strange. Anyway, this recipe needed a lot of steel mechanical components, which is really slow. So once I made steel casings with UU matter, that problem was basically solved. Okay. This, I used to have a temporary AE cable line going straight into the blood magic area. That was the idea. I never went through with it. I don't know why I never patched this wall. I guess I needed some kind of gate to the Squid killer. This is an awesome compressor, just makes close to an friend obsidian, put it in there, it goes out, easy. Okay, fine. The big machine. I am sorry if you can't follow what I'm about to do. You probably need a bit of applied energistics knowledge to even understand what I'm doing here. I'm going to try to explain. I'm sorry if you can't understand. So, I discovered that when an interface is pointing towards the block, it doesn't carry through channels through that side. So these interfaces are connected to my main system, and this set is part of a separate AE system. So I will be able to expand. I could put another interface right here, and I could put an interface right there. So items would get input into the system, when then stored into here. And then, of course, we get something like anglesite. And anglesite requires all these items, like 14 or so. I don't know, I didn't count. And so I have all these export buses set up to be a specific item set. All of them. So I could like request one. This should not take too long. No. Alright, so let me just and oh, huh? I didn't start it. Okay, before I do that, on the main block we also have export buses. These are completely full. And anglesite is actually a special case. We have importing of the charged zirconium, the anglesite, and then all the power blocks, the cell frame, the bentoid, and the resonant cell frame. But anglesite is special. So items will be piped into the system, exported to all the pedestals. But the real kicker came with anglesite. They needed quantum entangled singularities. And how do we get this? To drop one singularity and one iron dust and cause an explosion within range of the items. Alright, sure. Before I show you that, I need to explain how we get recipes that require more than 9 slots, because when we program in a recipe in Applied Energistics, we can only fill 9 slots. So how do we program Anglesite? Because this obviously requires more than 9. Let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, 15. Well, we use token items. I have these two. And so, I have here, this creates 2 angle step. Creates 2 angle step 2 using 2 angle step. So, what's happening is, in here, I'm saying, okay, so to make angle step, I'm using lithium. Lithium you don't need. Lithium goes into this machine to make, and then this machine gives it the name angle step. Angle step gets then out and goes back to the system. Alongside all these other items, they get dumped into this AE system. So those stay there. Then my main system sees, oh hey, we have angle step. Might as well send the next batch in. And then all the other items go in with angle step 1. And angle step 1 goes in here to become angle step 2. And angle step 2 goes back in the system. And then we need the Bentonite, which requires 1 ender dust, 1 singularity, and 1 tiny TNT. And the 2 angle step 2, and that makes the Anglesite. Now, why did I separate this in 3 steps? That's because of the singularities. Singularities. They're annoying. They're super annoying. I cannot tell this system, I cannot tell in the recipe, hey, any quantum entangled singularity will do. No. No, I can't. These don't stack. They don't stack. They're, as far as the system knows, 2 completely different items. And so, we have this wireless connector going to this machine here. So, they're in the final step. So, 1 ender dust, 1 singularity, and 1 tiny TNT creates 2 quantum entangled singularities. That's why these are done in sets of 2. So, if we just request 1, that will just work to the thing. I'll explain. So, comes into this chest. This item exports. The ender dust and the singularity go into this open crate. The TNT goes into this outer place. The outer place will place it against the western block where it will be immediately activated. And because they're in the same pattern as the final step, I'll always make sure that we don't get in the case where the TNT comes in first and then blows up and then goes out. Oh, there it went. Alright, and it's gone. Because I got this set up to be a filter. And this filter, no entity, but metadata. And that's important to get any quantum entangled singularity. Goes into here, and then it goes into here, and it's already done. You missed it. But it's there. You missed it. I'm sorry. And because they're also separate items, we have to use a fuzzy card here. And we're getting quantum entangled singularity. And that is how this machine works, specifically for our, So for Bentonite we also have Bany Step, which is actually a cool piece of coal. And the cell, this one, also requires a token item because it's more than 9. Special case. Ultimate control circuit. Why? I cannot put ultimate control circuits in here because elite control circuits with 4 atomic alloys become the ultimate control circuit. And the ultimate control circuit is also used to make the cell. So the problem is I have two spots. No, wait. Let me think. Yes. So to output the items from the system back into the main system, I use these expert buses. And these expert buses put it into this interface, which will put it back into the system. This is to trash the step items. Like, we don't need them anymore, but we still need them for the recipe. So these are to avoid. But the problem is, because if we want to craft the cell frame and the ultimate control circuit ends up in here, the system will think, hey, you were done crafting that, let me put it back. And that's where it goes wrong. We can't have that. The ultimate control circuit has to go to the pedestals and not to the expert bus. So we need a special case where we get a separate extraction point that is not AE to pull out the ultimate control circuit. Else it will never craft the cell. Oh. And that is how this machine works. I hope you understood. I'm sorry if you didn't. We're almost done explaining though. Okay. And that is basically my basement. We have these 3 machines left. Now, these are compact machines. And in compact machines, we can put a lot of stuff. I'm going to put the sound to 0 because it's loud in here. First, we will visit my ore factory. Okay. First things first. Why is there a gun turret in here? Before a very recent patch, tiny rainbow sprouts and rainbow fairies would spawn all the time. No matter what I did to prevent spawning, they would still spawn. So the most fun way I could think of to get rid of them is a gun turret. It used the casings, and I never made a factory to make the casings automatically. So I just dealt with it eventually. Yep. Okay. What the hell is going on here? Mekanism. Mekanism allows us to quintuple ores. And so you can put ore in here. It gets smelted. You can put ore in the enriching factory. It gets doubled and smelted. You can put ores in the purification factory. It gets tripled, refined, enriched, and smelted. Triple. You can get, they get crushed, then enriched, then smelted, and you get 3 times. You can put them in the injecting factory. And I put hydrogen chloride into the ores. We get 4 crystals. 4 crystals go into the purifying factory to clean them. And then get crushed, enriched, and smelted. Quadruple. But quintuple. Quintuple. That's the next step. So I have 2 lines here. They're all separate. Like I have 14, because these are rather slow. This is the step needed for the quintupling. It's rather slow. So we need for these machines to quintuple. They turn the ores into a liquid, and they need sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid is made in this machine. Combination of sulfur trioxide, water vapor coming from here, which is hydrogen chloride, or oxygen apparently, and sulfur dioxide. And sulfur dioxide is made by getting sulfur in the chemical oxidizer. And that makes sulfuric acid. Ores are input into this chest using 3 explosives. Yeah, let me just turn on sound for a moment, okay? For just a moment. You see? That's why I have it off. So we get brine from here. Goes into this electrolytic separator, same deal. Chlorine we need, sodium we don't. It's voided. We also have water going to an electrolytic separator to make hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen goes into this machine to make hydrogen chloride, which is needed for the quadrupling. And oxygen is needed for the Tripling. Yeah. Wait. I forgot which one is necessary for tripling or quadrupling, whatever. So then, these are all lines, don't worry. So, we get an ore, goes in here, where it becomes liquefied. Then, it gets washed with water, and we get an output. Then, it goes into this. This is maximum speed. Can we get it again, please? There we go. Beep, beep, beep. 1 second. 20 ticks. 20 ticks to make one of those. It is super slow compared to the speed at which these operate. Like, these can have 7 different items and it all takes a second too, but still. I can't upgrade these machines any fast to be faster than this, which made them a real pain in the ass. So I had to expand to 14. And so basically you can divide it here. I have, like from this point, you can see this to green and this to brown. And green and brown goes into the different inputs here. Here's green, here's brown. And that is core quintupling. And I have so many because this machine is just so super slow. It's kind of an asshole. So the sulfur comes from this chest. The sulfur also comes from... are you on the crafting card? No, you're speed. Sulfur comes from a drop, if I'm correct. Yeah. The blazes drop it. Okay. So these output into this chest and gets inputted. Have I not? Yes, I did. Okay. And that's for just the metal ores. We have other ores. We have these, which drop shit. And these get put in the enrichment factory. Great. We have draconium dust to be smolten immediately. And then we have a sack mill here for these. Why do I have 2 different? I could have put in all of these in there, but the yield would be greater in the sack mill for these, and the yield for these would be greater in the enrichment chamber. Or at least that's what I think. I found another way, but that one was too slow. And that is the ore factory. Okay. One more thing of note. Capability adapters. So on the outside of this machine is also a capability adapter. Because of how applied energistics works, you can't pipe through applied energistics from the outside to the inside. You need to use capability adapters. Someone wrote this mod because he wanted AE networks in there. EnderIO cables also do not work to these. Cables from expansion, for example, do work. You can pipe items out in from the outside, and then you can just use them here easy. Yep. That's the ore processing factory. Okay. Yeah, capability adapters. That room uses about 200,000 arithmetic. It's a relatively big amount. Alright. There's 2 more machines and then I'm done with the base. And then I'm done with this video actually. So, do not get overwhelmed, please. I'll explain each and every machine. In this compact machine is a clusterfuck of random machines that I just could not find a good spot for in my base. So I just dumped them in this machine. Okay. That is a glitch. Do not worry. Yeah, it's here. It's a glitch. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. This one uses 50,000 arithmetic. This whole room. This whole room. Okay. Calm down. First thing to note. This. Okay. So remember the gems I told you about? Yeah, I used to have that machine in here. It's gone now, it used to be here. Scrap, sandstone, cobblestone, sand, gravel, blah blah, apples. Apatite is actually not being made here, I just had that drawer outside my base for a long time, just moved in here. Plutonium, singularities, plants, and these things. Yeah, let's start here. So, I needed stuff like fluorite, beryllium, Alumite, crushed rhodochrosite. I needed all of these. And we could get these by throwing in granite in a rock crusher, diorite in a rock crusher, or andesite in a rock crusher. Perfect. And we could make these using igneous exteriors. Just one bucket of water, one bucket of lava, and it will just use the water. And we can make these rocks. Great. And what comes out goes piped into the drawer controller. Anything I pipe into the drawer controller will go into these drawers. Okay. I have one separate material stonework factory making sandstone. Yeah. Sandstone I also needed to make niter, I believe. Did I use it for niter? No. Did I use it for niter? I completely forgot. I need it for endstone, but yeah, I wouldn't manufacture for niter, I guess. Yep. That's not automated here. Or I need a sandstone for something else, I don't remember. So where now? Let's go here. This interface is tied to this melter. It's tied to the smart output and then goes back to the interface. For clear glass. Clear glass has specifically made through Tinker's Constructs casting basins or smart output. So liquid glass goes in here and clear glass comes out. I need the clear glass specifically for what again? Let me see. I needed it for no, not ethereal. I forgot. No, not that. I forgot what I used it for. I need it for something. I forgot, sorry. Let's see. This is an isotope separator. You put in uranium ingots and you get uranium-238 and uranium-236, I believe, out of it. And that's all this machine does. You need uranium for DU plating, I believe. Yeah, you need it for DU plating. That's what you need uranium-238 for. And that's why this machine exists. Oh god, there's so much. Alright, above me. Singularities. So, singularities have to be made. And what do? Well, I get dense cobblestone generators. And dense cobblestone generators generate 512 cobblestone per second. So we get the fastest possible item transfer. And we just dump it on here. Easy. This metal condenser was not fun to make, by the way. The metal condenser required me to get 10,000 pistons. And this one is a catalyst. Yeah, that was not fun to make. Considering pistons are made like so, using compressed cobblestone and treated wood. Ouch. So before I got infinite UV matter, shut the fuck up. I got a basic lithium ion cell, and that just pipes power into all these 8 recyclers. And just get cobble gets piped in, turns into scrap, and the scrap gets then piped into the store. Easy. Okay. So remember my I can fill a black hole tank in 2 minutes machine outside my base. The 25 piping constructions. Yeah, so I put a black hole tank here and then it just gets ingot for it. It's currently infinity. Because that was the great part about this. Creative. Where's the thing? There it is. We need infinity ingots. So you'd think, fuck, I need to make 2 of these. No, we only need to make 1. Because the infinity ingot can be molten down. And if we have 1 molten down ingot, we can put it in a dropper. And the dropper we can use in the creative tank. And suddenly we have infinity ingots. So I use the smelter, ingot former, to turn the liquid back into ingots, and that just gets pumped to this interface. This interface is actually part of another system. What the fuck? What were you good for? Why are you here? Why? Probably this. Right. Yes. Okay, you smelt crushed water oxide to get manganese oxide. Manganese oxide gets infused with oxygen to make manganese dioxide, and that then was it this one? Yes, it was. This goes into a wait. Extracting brown. Okay, so I'm using, it's not actually part of this machine. It just uses this interface as a surgeon back into the system. This just makes the manganese dioxide, which is needed for certain batteries. It's not part. This is not part of it either, don't worry. So, what does this machine do? Well, it makes rich slag. And how do you get to rich slag? Rich slag, a byproduct of the induction smelter. We can put in sand or any ore, or we can put in cinnabar and anything really. How do I do it? 1 cobblestone, 1 sand, and 16 lapis. Now, you saw that, right? So 16 lapis and 1 cobblestone in the combiner turns into lapis ore. And lapis ore with sand, augmented for more secondary output, gives us a guaranteed chance of rich slag with a chance of 2. And that's what I used to make rich slag. We just spent 16 lapis and we get back 8 lapis. Fair deal. Sure, I have enough lapis. Who gives a shit? Okay. What is this machine doing? Oh, this is just making nature essence, which then went into here to make apples. Apples then get back to here because you need apples for enchanted ingots, I believe, to make speed upgrades. Shut up. I could have replaced these with them. They're needed for the enchanter. I'll explain later. This grows carrots. The carrots go into a crusher to make biofuel. The biofuel goes into this pressurized reaction chamber to make ethylene and substrate. The ethylene goes into here to become liquid ethylene. Liquid ethylene why are you filled with oxygen? Why are you filled with oxygen? That's strange. I don't know why he's filled with oxygen, but I think I know. The byproduct here is. Wait, does it generate more? Yes. It generates oxygen. It uses liquid ethylene and oxygen to make oxygen. So this is a access tank for that. It's fine. There's probably a gas complete in here, right? Yes, it's a gas complete. Okay, that explains it. Okay, so ethylene gas form goes into here, becomes liquid ethylene, goes into another PRC, and oxygen coming from water into this thing. The water source, I don't know where the water source is. Probably this one. Turns into hydrogen going into this PRC to make the substrate, and the oxygen goes into this PRC to go with liquid ethylene and substrate to make HDPE pellets, which can be turned into HDPE sheets, which you can then use to make plastic, for example, grey plastic, which is used for black hole tanks, black hole units, and black hole controllers. That's why I need this machine. or you can just enrich chamber, that's cheaper. And that's what goes into here. Great. Okay. These two machines live just for growing cactus and sugarcane. Nothing special. Hydrogen, oxygen. Why is this? I feel like I had this because I needed oxygen. Yes, I think I need oxygen to fill my scuba helmet when I want to do some underwater construction for my base. That's why it's here. Okay. This long streak of machines here. What is this about? Well, these are tree fluids extractors. They make latex. How do they make latex? If a piece of wood is placed down there and they're facing it, they don't use any power. They just slowly but surely break the wood under it. And then we get, so we have two tree fluid extractors on this entire row of wood making latex. The latex can then piped into latex processing units. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they all require latex and fluid. They are out of power. What the shit? How? Hello? Eh? Eh? How is that? That's strange. I don't see how they are out of power. They have connection, right? Surely looks like it. What the hell? Huh. Well, it's full anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay. Strange. Huh. It doesn't matter. Let me see. So, where do they get all the wood from in here? Because that's a lot of wood. This interface. You're getting a sash wood. The crafting card. We're making this sash wood. How are we making a sash wood? Wood essence. Perfect. And that's how we dump. So we dump all the wood into here. Under the fission reactor here, there are more of these procedures, and you cannot reach them. You literally cannot break this wall. Doesn't matter what you do, you cannot break this wall. So we use porcupines to access them anyway. And then we have items and liquid cables going through. And that makes us dry rubber. Tiny dry rubbers. And this can be combined in dry rubber, which can be turned into plastic. Which is a very nice replacement for rubber from industrial craft. I also need it for certain machines. Over here we have a mob crusher and a trash. Why? Remember the spawning issue I had with the fairies and the rainbow sprouts? This machine took care of it. And I just avoided anything it could grab from those guys. I didn't care. I didn't need them. They were annoying. So I killed them the moment they spawned. Okay. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why is there a giant fission reactor in the middle here? Well, my dear boy. Plutonium production. This seed makes uranium. Uranium gets turned into refined uranium. And enriched uranium is made with tiny clump uranium-235 and refined uranium. There's a small AE system here. Going to here. There's a separator to separate the uranium. That goes back into the system. I have a trash here. I don't need the other kind of uranium. And so we get new uranium that goes into here. That becomes enriched uranium. I told the system that it makes enriched uranium because it goes back into the system. And the enriched uranium gets dumped into the fission reactor. It's not working. I don't think it's working. Why the hell are you not working? Ah, fuck, I don't care why it's not working. I'm done with this pack. So, enriched uranium nuclear fuel can be used in a fission reactor to make depleted uranium nuclear fuel, which you can have fuel reprocessed for uranium-238 or tiny plutonium. So it goes in here. And we void the other plutonium and we grab the tiny plutonium. And the tiny plutonium goes into here. 44 stacks currently, so that's nice. You need tiny plutonium to make plutonium, which is kind of a bitch to make. I never automated cyanide. Maybe I should have, but I never did. Yeah, that's that machine. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4 machines in here. See, it's not that bad, right? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Oh yeah, so here's the liquid lithium being turned into ingots. Goes in the system there. This machine makes rosin. Rosin is needed for the this one. No, this one. Yeah, this one needs rosin, and also it's like cinnabar is easy. That's just putting gelochrome into cinnabar. You get 4 of it. So rosin. How do you make rosin? Rosin has a 50% chance from resin in a fracturing steel. How do we get resin? We chop wood. We get 10 millibucks of resin. So we throw in 20 jungle wood. 20 jungle wood gets turned into 200 resin with the resin funnel. Resin goes in here. And how do we get more than 100%? Secondary chance upgrades. And that's how we guarantee rosin with the chance of a second one. And that gets piped back into the system. Okay, next machine. This maze. Okay, it makes calcium sulfate. It's needed for the final tier of elite plating from nuclear craft. We need 2 crushed fluorite, which you get from those, and 2 sulfur. And the sulfur goes into this, into melter, becomes sulfur dioxide, combined with oxygen becomes something else, that combined with oxygen becomes something else, that combined with water becomes something else. The fluoride goes into a fluid enricher to become a liquid. That then comes in here to make sulfuric acid and the fluoride water, which then goes and becomes another liquid, goes into the crystallizer, becomes the calcium sulfate. Yes, this entire machine, this entire shitty process to make calcium sulfate, it was not fun to automate because I had to look up the entire way. It was not as bad as looking up how to get californium. Oh god, that was a lot of math. Yeah. Next machine. This one just makes snowballs. That's all it does. We have these sets. What does this do? Well, oh shit, still making chicken essence. I don't need that much. How much chicken essence do I have? 27,000. Okay. This is a personal mystical agriculture seed grower. So I put any seed in here and it just goes. I used to need a lot of inferium essence. So I grabbed this tier 5 seed, I put it in there, and it just let it run. And before I knew it, I had so much inferium. That was great. Alright, so I'm using flux phytogrow. How do you get flux phytogrow? We charge up rich phytogrow. How do we get rich phytogrow? Pulverized charcoal, niter, and rich slag, which are made here. So we had sandstone, rich slag, and with the crafting card, because you already know how to make rich slag, and wood. The wood gets pumped into this furnace, and the charcoal goes back into the manufactory, becoming pulverized charcoal. Now, sandstone goes in here to become niter. Gets imported into here, becomes the phytogrow charge. Yeah, you get the idea. This is set with a monoculture cycle, so it would keep the seed in the same place. And over here we have an enchanter and resonator, this automation. Items would get put into this crate, going to this, or this. I have it sorted with filters. Yeah, filters. So these items go in here. These assholes make sure that I can actually use the enchanter. And if I needed something from just the resonator, I would use this one. And that covers this clusterfuck. Yeah. I don't think I missed anything. No. That was it. Cool. Let's go over here. Alright. Machine to show you. One more glorious machine. The garden. The garden is where I make all my singularities. The garden is what is necessary to make singularities. So singularities, as you may recall, I need all of them. And all these require 10,000. And some are easy, very easy, because, hey, you happen to have a liquid. What can we do with liquids in it? Oh, right, get an infinite amount of it. So that's how most of my machines went. However, that didn't work for all of them. Flux crystals. How do we get flux crystals? We infuse the Saber's redstone into diamonds. Also as a liquid form. That's exactly what it took. Electrum, flux electrum. Infusing the Saber's redstone in electrum. These are two liquids, basically. Indirectly. Hey. Good. Easy. Magnesium diborite. Alloy furnace of 2 boron and magnesium. These can both be turned into liquids. Great. Coal. Needs blocks of coal. How do we get coal? Well, I found only one way. Casting it. Liquefied coal. And hey, liquid coal, you say? Okay, which one was more of a pain? Alright, yes. Fluix. We need Fluix crystals, 10,000. No liquid. But we can grow it. And that's the good thing. So the original idea was that I called it the garden because I was going to have a lot of phytogenic isolators and a lot of seeds just growing these resources to go into the singularities. No. That wasn't necessary. Oh, what the hell is going on here? No, it still makes sense. Okay. So there's a wall of singularities. And this room uses 3.2 million arithmetic. Not constantly. It rises. As a quantum compressor starts building a singularity, it's going to require a lot of power. So it kind of fluctuates. Highest I've seen is like 7 million arithmetic, and that's why I needed the bigger reactor. Because of this room. This mess of piping. This is my greatest creation in this pack. So, Mob Slaughter Factory, you know why. You know why. All these machines need so much power. I wasn't going to just put points everywhere, so I just went with Price Sabers first. These transfer an infinite amount of RF, so yes. Okay, so we have a huge wall over here, and every one is the same. We have a liquid piped into an ingot former, piped into a quantum compressor, doing singularity. And singularity is then piped into the system there. Easy. And that's with almost all of them. Quartz is empty. As is lapis. Okay, so there was fluid quartz in here. Okay, fluid quartz would then go into 4 different ingot formers because we get only 1 quartz. And it's raining outside. We get only 1 quartz, but we need blocks. So it goes in here. Into this drawer, and it can turn into blocks, and the blocks go into here. Lapis, we need blocks of lapis, not normal lapis. You could only make normal lapis. Lapis was in here. I have 2 because it was drained so quickly, actually. And so we have 9 ingot formers. All going into Aurora and into here. Let's see, how many did I end up making? 57. Huh. And quartz? Not here. Where's the quartz? Not there, not there. Not there. Nope. 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 Where the hell is the quartz? Oh, no. Oh, it's black quartz. Huh? Am I blind? Oh, it is that one. Fuck no. Little overstack. Okay. I needed 12 singularities. Actually, no, I needed 14 or 13 singularities each in the end. So I have overstacked. Okay, this is 64,000 iron ingot, by the way. No, 640,000 iron ingots, by the way. Made out of liquids, because hey, I could fill these tanks in 2 minutes less than 2 minutes, so why not? Okay. Let's start with the mess here. Okay, so this is to make these 3 go into ingot formers and then go into an alloy smelt furnace to make the magnesium diorite. I needed the biggest and best item transfer possible for each and every one of them because they were making items so fast. Each and every one of these has 64 speed and energy upgrades. I am using 33,000 arithmetic for each ingot former. Quite a lot. Quite a lot. This one makes the diamonds and then infused them with redstone. It was kind of slow, so I slapped 2 of them down. And those go both piped into here. Fluctuates. This one infuses the electrum and then goes into this one to make the flux electrum. So is this electrum there? All simple. These make the redstone and glowstone. If you remember at the reactor on the outside on the island, those was making Cryophyum dust. Cryophyum dust will land in here and then go into here, 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 and here, which is empty. Did I stop them? Yes, I stopped these. It's okay. I didn't need it anymore. Right? Right? Something's weird. Whatever. So yeah, I stopped redstone and glowstone production actually because I didn't need it anymore. I was draining a lot of cryophyum to make these. So these just... Oh, well, there you go. I haven't fully disabled them. Glowstone goes here into the cryophyum, gets crafted into glowstone blocks, and then put into here. Save you with redstone. Further on this piping nightmare. What's next? Guess these things. Okay, so these are for 3 different. There's all these ferromediators. They're all around a photogenic ice layer. These make fluke seeds from Jelly Cryophyum. Jelly Cryophyum comes here. This is basically to help speed up these machines. The seeds get, the essence goes into this crafter, it becomes flux crystals, and the flux crystals get dumped into here. Easy. And that's just how it went for Certus and for black quartz. That's how I got so many resources for those. However, these photogenic ice layers also need flux phytogro. And the flux phytogro, that one's a bit hard to make. So we get this huge machine. We started by making sand. Sand goes into here. Cauldron. A cauldron is 7 plates. 7 plates. And this makes us 7 ingots. So the ingots get extracted out into the pressurizer. The pressurizer turns the plate and it goes into the crafter, and the plates go back into cauldrons. So I'm cycling cauldrons to make slag. And it's actually doing all of it. Can't keep up. The slag then goes into this crafter. I'm getting wood. The wood goes into manufacturing, making first charcoal to make this. And the niter comes from the sandstone, which I'm just exporting niter straight into this. Okay. The phytogro gets then put into these 2 fluid transposers with sap. Of course, filled in less than 2 minutes. And and that gets turned into rich Fabricator. The rich Fabricator goes into these 4 energetic infusers to become fluxed Fabricator, which goes round robin style around to those plants, because it's actually draining more, and I just didn't care if it would create even more, so Finally, we have the coal. The coal is empty. I expected as much. So we got 25 smart outputs here, with 2 solid grades and an ambassador grade. They will produce blocks of coal, and blocks of coal will stand to here makes a singularity. And that concludes it. I got those singularities, and I got catalysts, which was also a pain to make, for especially these. These were a pain to make. Ugh. Never again. And that's how I won the pack. All I have left in the end. That's... yeah. I have done a lot. I enjoyed almost every second of it. There were points where I was like, fuck this pack, I'm giving up, and that's when I had like only this one room here, and I had some industrial craft machines here, and power generation was just shit. So I had set up a lava bomb for geothermals, and oh god, I was on the verge of just stopping the pack like 10 hours in. But I had fun. If you're still watching, thank you for watching, and next video will probably be a comedy one again. Goodbye.